Namaskara students, I am Diksha Kaushal, your chemistry master teacher, and I know you are very excited for today's lecture. So Makale session I like Mali and I'll see you all in the class. I'm Diksha Kaushal, your chemistry master teacher, and guys, as you all asked that ma'am we want class 12 physical chemistry formulas. So here I am here to discuss all the physical chemistry formulas of class 12. For solutions we have some concentration terms, that is mole fraction. Firstly we have mole fraction. Mole fraction is like if you want to calculate the mole fraction of first component, the number of moles of first component divided by the total number of moles of all the components present in that mixture. Okay, and the mole fraction of all the components is equals to unity. Next we have molarity, that is number of moles of solute divided by volume of solution, that is in liters. Here units are very important, this is in liters, and molality we have mass of solvent, that is in kilograms. Next we have Henry's law where P is equals to KH and mole fraction where P is the partial pressure and KH is the Henry's constant. Next we have the colligative properties, very important. The questions are usually asked from colligative properties and Van 't Hoff factor. So we have four colligative properties. First starting with relative lowering in vapor pressure. Always remember in my all the formulas I'll denote second to 2 is equals to solute and 1 is equivalent to solvent. If I'm denoting something 2, that means I'm talking about solute, and with 1 I'm talking about solvent. So here we are going to see this is the relative lowering in vapor pressure, but P naught minus P is the lowering in vapor pressure where P is the partial pressure and P naught is the pure vapor pressure. Okay, pure vapor pressure, and P is the partial vapor pressure. So this is relative lowering and this is the lowering in vapor pressure, that is equals to mole fraction of solute. Okay, this represents solute. Next we have elevation and boiling point. The boiling point is increased after adding some solute here. So delta TB is equals to TB minus TB naught is equals to KBM, where KB is the molar elevation constant. Okay, so here the units for KB are also mentioned here, that can also be asked, where M is the molality. Always remember with relative lowering in vapor pressure we have that is equals to mole fraction, and here we have molality. In depression and freezing point also the formula is very similar. It's just that here we have TF naught minus TF because here we have depression, the temperature is getting down, the freezing point is lowering. Okay, there is depression in the freezing point, and this is equals to, this is also molality. But in case of osmotic pressure, always remember this, in case of osmotic pressure that is dependent on the molarity, not the molality. First we have mole fraction, then molality, here also molality, here we have molarity. This is pi denotes the osmotic pressure is equals to CRT, where C is equals to molarity. Okay, so molarity is what? Number of moles of solute divided by volume of solution in liters. Next is if we want to calculate this, if there is any dissociation or association, so there will be Van 't Hoff factor. So just apply the Van 't Hoff factor in all the formulas. Just I will be here, I will be here, here also I will be here, and then I is added, here also I is added in all the colligative properties. In all the colligative properties, because of association and dissociation, there will be some change. Next we have Raoult's law. For Raoult's law, this is the partial vapor pressure, this is the vapor pressure in pure state, okay, denoted by naught. This is the mole fraction, right? If something obeys Raoult's law, that is called ideal solution. If do not obey Raoult's law, this is called non-ideal solution. Okay, we have positive, negative deviations, and you need to remember all the examples of positive and negative deviation as well. Next we have Van 't Hoff factor. For Van 't Hoff factor, the I is equals to observed colligative property divided by calculated colligative property, that is also equals to number of particles after association or dissociation divided by number of particles before that, okay, initially. Then we have normal molecular mass divided by observed molecular mass. Here you will calculate the I and put in the colligative properties. So also how to, if there is dissociation, then colligative property is related to degree of dissociation with this formula, and the Van 't Hoff factor is always greater than 1 for dissociation, and Van 't Hoff factor is always less than 1 for association. Here it is related to degree of dissociation with this formula, right? Okay, so now next we have electrochemistry, very important and very scoring chapter, So let us understand the formulas. There's just few formulas, but very important formulas, especially Nernst equation. So let us see, this is anode, this is cathode. This is a representation of cell. Here at anode there will be oxidation, at cathode there will be reduction. That means here we have loss of electron, here we will have gain of electron represented by this. This is the salt bridge here. Next we have how to calculate E cell. That is equals to E cathode minus E anode. That will be that means cathode is on the it is on the right side, so that will be E right side, that minus E of left side. You can also calculate this E right minus left. You can also see it like this, cathode minus anode. But always take the reduction potential, never oxidation potential is taken here. Always take the reduction potential in both the cases, right? Next we have how they are related to each other. So standard reduction potential is directly proportional to oxidizing power and it is inversely proportional to reducing power. Next we have Nernst equation. For Nernst equation, this is the formula where it is E cell is related to E naught cell with this formula, where log here on the above we have oxidation and down we have reduction. Okay, the thing that is getting oxidized and thing that is getting reduced. Okay, next we have standard condition, temperature is standard, right? For that, and log is based to 10. This is the natural log. This is log based to 10. For that, this will be the formula, that is 0.0591. Just always remember these two formulas, because if you're not given the particular temperature, standard temperature, then you will apply this formula. If you're given the standard temperature or you're not given anything, that means you have standard temperature only, then you will apply this formula. Okay, where R is the gas constant. Next we have at equilibrium E is equals to 0 and delta G is equals to 0. So the formula becomes, just put these value here and the formulas becomes like this. Okay, now this whole chart is very important. The question are asked from this. Next we have Gibbs free energy, that is related to delta G is equals to minus NF E cell, where F is the 1 Faraday, that is 96500, and this is the relation between delta G and delta G naught. Naught means the standard conditions. Okay, here spontaneous reaction is where E cell is always greater than that is positive, greater than 0, and delta G is negative, that is less than 0. For non-spontaneous, E cell is less than 0 and delta G is positive, that is greater than 0. Next we have this formula again, beta, let us see this. So these are related to conductance and resistance, resistivity, very important. So see this is the R represents here, just firstly see what this represents. R represents resistance, rho represents resistivity, C represents conductance, and kappa, this is called kappa. Kappa represents conductivity. So these are the units of these particular terms, right? Next we have cell constant, that is represented by G star, and that is L by A. Units can be per centimeter or per meter, and the R is related to resistivity in this case. This is conductance is related to this conductivity in this case. Okay, so these formulas are very important. Next we have molar conductivity. Now this kappa represents the simple conductivity, but if we want to calculate the molar conductivity or equivalent conductivity, for that the formula is molar conductivity is equals to kappa into 1000 divided by molarity. If kappa is in centimeter, is in Simon centimeter inverse, this would be Simon centimeter inverse. If it is in Simon meter inverse, the 1000 will not be here. Okay, similarly with molar equivalent conductivity, that is kappa into 1000 divided by normality. Usually molar conductivity is asked. Okay, so now next we have the infinite dilution. At infinite dilution, that is limiting molar conductivity, that is related. If we want to calculate, they will ask you, first they will ask you to calculate this thing, then they will ask you to calculate the degree of dissociation. Degree of dissociation is molar conductivity at a concentration C divided by molar conductivity at infinite dilution, that is limiting molar conductivity, and from there you will calculate the Kc, that is degree of dissociation constant. Okay, so dissociation constant is equals to C alpha square 1 minus alpha. Okay guys, so this is also asked. They will ask you firstly this, then this, they will take you this. Okay, this delta, this for for calculating the molar conductivity at infinite dilution, there are 2-3 things that we can do. Okay, for that we have Cauchy's law. For this Cauchy's law, we have this. This simply says that if you have an anionic compound, in that compound, this N, this particular things, they represent that molar conductivity at infinite dilution will be equals to the molar conductivity of individual ions. Okay, these are the molar conductivity of individual ions, limiting molar conductivity of cation, limiting molar conductivity of anion. What is this N? What is this N? This represents the number of cations and the number of anions that they are being dissociated into. Very important. Firstly, they will let you calculate this molar conductivity in infinite dilution from this law, then molar conductivity at C concentration from this one, and after that you have to calculate the degree of dissociation, then dissociation constant. Okay, next we have Faraday's law. Faraday's law, we have 2 laws, that is first law, second law. This can also be asked. Usually students avoid this, but this can also be asked. Very simple. So firstly, this is W. W is the weight, the mass or the weight deposited, right? Z is the electrochemical equivalent, I is current and T is time, and Z is equals to E by F, and E is equals to molar mass by N. So the formula becomes MITNF, where M is the molar mass, F is the Faraday, that is N96500, N is the number of electrons that are gained or lost, and I is the current, T is the time in seconds. Okay, so now second law says that if we have so many things that are connected in series, for that weight of metal at A divided by weight of metal at B will be equals to equivalent weight at A, equivalent weight at B. Okay, so now next we have chemical kinetics, very most simple chapter of physical chemistry, very easy chapter of physical chemistry. Then we have reactants and products. Here you have 2-3 things that students usually get confused in. Let me teach you that. So firstly, this is the average rate, that is equals to minus. Minus means that is getting disappeared. Okay, so the reactant is getting disappeared, minus is for that, and the product is getting formed, the plus is for because it is getting formed here. It is not getting disappeared. Okay, this is the rate of appearance, this is disappearance. So this is delta. Delta represents a large change and D represents a very, very small. So this is R instantaneous. R means rate at instantaneous. Okay. So this is dR by dt. This is delta R by delta T. This is delta P by delta T. This is dP by dt. Because this is a small change, this is a large change. Okay. Next we have rate of, this is not a very large change as comparative to D. This is a large change. Okay. Rate of reaction. What is the rate of reaction? What is this, ma'am? Let me teach you this also. So if you have this particular reaction, there are 2 things. Okay, they will ask you 2-3 things. Firstly, they will ask you rate of appearance. Rate of appearance means that is getting appeared. So this is getting appeared here. This should be positive. Wait. This should be positive here. This should be positive here, okay, because it is getting appeared, no? So appearance means it is positive, disappearance means that should be negative. So here it will be negative here, right? So rate of appearance, for calculating the rate of appearance or disappearance, you need not divide that with any moles. Okay, here I have not divided that with 1 by A or 1 by B. Okay, but if you are calculating rate of reaction is always calculated for 1 mole. So because of that, you will also say rate of reaction will be equals to, this is for appearance and this is for disappearance. This is for disappearance. So rate of appearance, rate of disappearance, and also write the number of moles. That's why I have written rate of reaction is equals to appearance or disappearance 1 by moles D, whatever will be the reactant or product, divided by dt. So always divide it with the moles. Why? Because we calculate for rate of reaction for 1 mole only. So this is very important. Usually students get confused in this. Next we have the simple formulas that we have this reaction. So the rate law, according to rate law, rate is equals to K A raised to power X B raised to power Y. So X and Y in equilibrium constant, we have written A and B. That was because of raised to the power stoichiometric coefficient. Here we do not have raised to the power stoichiometric coefficient. Rather, these are actually experimentally done. So X plus Y or all these forms together form the order of that reaction. So X plus Y is the order of that reaction. It has nothing to do with this reaction. You cannot find the order of reaction by just seeing that reaction. It depends on the slowest step, right? Okay. So now rate is equals to rate constant, and for rate constant and the X plus Y is the order of reaction. that I have written x and y is not equals to a or b, nothing to do with a or b, right? Next we have x plus y is equals to 0, that is 0 order reaction, it is 1, then first order it is 2, then second order 3 is equals to third order. Okay, you have only these 3 orders of reaction in your syllabus. Okay, so now how to calculate they can directly ask you what is the unit of rate constant. Okay, they will give you the order of that reaction. For that we have this simple formula where n is the order of reaction, mole per liter, 1 by n second square per second. Okay, so this is rate constant units. They can ask you, these questions are directly asked in the exams. Okay, next we have the formulas of zero order, first order and second order reaction. For first order reaction, this is K represents the rate constant, this R naught represents the initial concentration, and R represents the concentration at that time. Okay, so T is the time, right? So T half is the half time, that means where half of the concentration is consumed and half is left. Okay, so for that R naught by 2K, they can also directly ask you the half-life period of zero order reaction directly depends on the initial concentration. For first order reaction, it does not depend on the initial concentration. These type of question can also be asked directly from this chapter. Okay, so first order reaction, K is equals to 2.303 log R naught by R, then T half is equals to 0.693 divided by K. It does not depend on the concentration, right? Only depends on the rate constant. Next we have second order reaction. So this is the relation between rate constant and time and the concentration. For half-life we have 1 divided by initial concentration into K. So this is inversely proportional to the initial concentration, right? Okay, so next we have the Arrhenius constant, and what is activation energy. This is A is Arrhenius constant and this EA is the activation energy. The formula, this is the rate constant, this is the direct formula, right? After this, applying this formula for one particular temperature and other temperature T1 and T2, we had this, that is log K2 by K1 is equals to EA 2.303 R, T minus T1 minus T2, T1 into T2. So you will be given two temperatures and you have to calculate the activation energy or something like that. Some terms will be missing here, and this formula is also very important for your numericals. So guys, today we are going to convert minutes into marks by doing naming reactions, which are very, very important from the point of view of NEET and boards as well. Okay, so guys, let us start with the first question, that is soda lime decarboxylation. So guys, soda lime decarboxylation, why soda lime? Because here we have used caustic soda and quicklime. And we have used the sodium salt of carboxylic acid here, which will be getting converted into alkane and Na2CO3. Okay, so this is getting converted into R, and this particular has RH. But in case of Cole's electrolysis, the same thing is getting converted into R and R. Always remember this thing. This is RH and this is R. Okay, the alkyl part is getting doubled here. Here the alkyl part has just addition of hydrogen here. Okay, so now next thing is, in the Cole's electrolysis, we have sodium salt of carboxylic acid and electricity is passed through that. So now, what are the compounds that are formed on anode and cathode? At anode, we have alkane and carbon dioxide. And at cathode, we had hydrogen gas. And this is a basic medium because of NaOH. That's it. And also this proceeds through free radical mechanism. So next is Woods reaction, Woods fatigue reaction, all are same. The Na will take out X and X with itself in the presence of dry ether and heat. Why dry ether? Because sodium is very reactive. Right? Okay, so now next is this R and this R part will combine together to form R and R. In case of Woods reaction, you have both the alkyl are actually haloalkane. This is haloalkane because we have alkane part here, and in this case we have one aryl part and one part is alkyl. Okay, so in the similar manner they will combine together and form this particular thing. And after that, in fatigue reaction, both the halide parts are alkyl. Okay, aryl, sorry, both the halide parts are aryl. Okay, these both are aryl and will have the formation of biphenyl here. Now next is Franklin reagent. Okay, Franklin reagent. In case of Na, we use zinc here. So zinc, you can also remember this with the help of Germany, and Germany has Frankfurt there. So in case of this, Franklin has Zn. Okay, so now also this Zn will take away X and X, and there will be combination of R and R. Will have the formation of alkane and ZnX2 here. Right? These all are the almost same methods here. Almost same method is being used here. right? Okay, so that's why I have put these question together. So now this is Curie-House synthesis. Curie-House synthesis. Here we use Gilman's reagent. Okay, always remember this is an organometallic. This is not Grignard's reagent. That is RMGX. This is Gilman's reagent. This can also be used, or either in place of this, they can also give Li, CuX and Rx here. So here we have Rx is getting converted into alkane. Okay, the side products are RCU and LiX. Right. So next is Sabatier and Sanderson reaction. Here we have alkene or alkyne that will be converted into alkane with the help of a catalyst that is nickel, and this hydrogenation will take place here. Okay. So now for alkene conversion we use around 200 degrees Celsius, and for alkyne we have around 300 degrees Celsius temperature. Right, so next is Darzon reaction, like a Tarzan movie. This is the Darzon reaction. Okay, so Darzon reaction and Reed's reaction are almost similar. Let us see. In case of Darzon reaction, you have, this is thionyl chloride. Okay, this is thionyl chloride, right? Always remember this. This is thionyl chloride, and we use pyridine here. If we are not using pyridine, then this will follow intramolecular reaction, intramolecular substitution reaction. Okay. So now thionyl chloride is used here, and the OH part will be replaced by Cl, and we'll have byproduct SO2 and HCl, which will vaporize. So this is a very good method of preparing alkyl halides, right? So next is Reed's reaction. Reed's reaction is almost similar. Just see this. This is not thionyl chloride. This is SO2Cl2. That means this is sulfonyl chloride. Okay, this is sulfonyl chloride, and here in the Darzon reaction we have taken the reactant as alcohol, and here the reactant is alkane, and this H will be replaced by this Cl. Rest is same. This will vaporize and the RCl will be formed here, right? So next is Clemenzin reduction. For Clemenzin reduction we have carbonyl group here. For Clemenzin and Wolff-Kishner reduction, both are same. There's just a difference of reagents and conditions. Okay. So here this is acidic condition. Always remember that this is acidic condition. And here the question is being asked, then if you have another group, like for example, you have another group like OH here, or you have COH here, right? So this OH will have the reaction over this, because this is acidic condition, this is the base. So neutralization reaction will occur here, and this will be get replaced to Cl. But on the acidic group, there will be no reaction because the conditions are already acidic. Okay, so these kind of questions can be asked. Here we use the reagent as zinc amalgam and HCl. The acidic conditions are to be noticed here, and in Wolff-Kishner reduction we have basic condition. Always remember, in this case also we have carbonyl group that is being reduced here, but in this case the OH will group has no effect and the COH group will get converted into, so we have these will be converted into OH. Okay, so this is the another thing that is additional that is being asked in the question. For detail of these kind of question, you can always I will always recommend my detailed videos for one-shot videos or live lectures where these questions are being solved in those lectures. Okay, so now this is a quick revision. Right, so this is Falkenstein reaction. This is halogen exchange reaction, right? Okay, so Falkenstein reaction, Schwarz reaction are actually halogen exchange reaction. So this halogen can be chlorine or this can be bromine. So here we have used Na in presence of acetone, and this is getting converted into Ri. Okay, because this is a reversible reaction if you are using standard methods. That is why this particular reaction is used this way, right? So this is Schwarz reaction. In Schwarz reaction, we use inorganic fluoride. This is also halogen exchange method. So this also X can be Cl or Br, and then this can be halogen is being replaced by fluorine in presence of inorganic fluoride. Otherwise, this formation of RF is a very explosive reaction. So this is done this way. Okay. So now next is Borodin-Hunsdiecker reaction. Okay, the name is so heavy. So what we'll do here? Here we have silver. Okay, this is silverish reaction. So what do we do here? Here we have RCOAg, okay, silver salt of carboxylic acid, and this Br2CCl4. So now always remember this. In this case, so always students get confused in this reaction and HVZ reaction. In that reaction, the alpha hydrogen is being replaced. I'll also take that reaction as well. Here, in presence of Br2 and CCl4, this whole part is this Cl2, this CO2 goes out, Ag bar goes out, and this Br is being attached here. This is RBr. Okay, I was speaking Goa here. Why I am missing Goa, I don't know. I've never been there. Yeah. Okay. So now this is RBR. Okay, this is RBR. Do not confuse this with HBZ reaction. Okay. So next is Gattermann reaction. Gattermann reaction, as you can see here in this reaction, we have this is disonium salt that is prepared from aniline. Okay, that is prepared from aniline, 0 to 5 degrees Celsius, HNO2. Okay, so now here we have reacted this with HBr and copper powder. In Sand-Mears reaction, this is sand and this is salt. Always remember, sand is salt, sand is salty. So in Sand-Mears reaction, a salt is used. Okay, salt of copper is used. But in Gattermann reaction, you use copper powder. That is the only difference. Everything else is same. This is getting converted into bromo, benzene, and N2 and Cl2 is extracted out. And this is not very important. Cyanide is not formed here. This is not formed here. Cyanide is not formed here. Okay, cyanide is not here. But here in this case, cyanide is formed. Okay, with the help of CuCN and KCN. We cannot say that this is a Sand-Mears reaction. This is a kind of, okay, this is a similar type. Okay, this is a similar game that happens here. So next is Ball-Schiemann reaction. In case of Ball-Schiemann reaction, again we have this aniline that is getting converted into disonium salt, and after this is the disonium salt, and this disonium salt we have added HBF4, then this will get converted into, we will have fluorobenzene here. Okay, this is N2, then BF34. Because in very simpler manner, fluorobenzene is very explosive reaction. It is very difficult to make. So that is why we have used this particular reaction here. Okay. So next is Cole's reaction. Now the mechanism itself is very important. What we have done here, this is the salicylic acid. Okay, this is formed here, and this is NaOH. Okay, phenol is getting converted into salicylic acid. Okay, this is acid, not aldehyde. This is acid. Okay, here we have used CO2. This is the main hero of your reaction. This is the main hero of your reaction. This will act as a electrophile, and then we acidify it, we get salicylic acid. And the next reaction is similar to this, that is Riemer-Tiemer reaction. The intermediate formed here is also very important. That is, what is the intermediate? That is dichloro. That is dichloro what? Carbene. Okay, dichlorocarbene is the intermediate here. If you are using CHCl3 aqueous NaOH positive, you will get salicyl aldehyde. And if you are using CCl4, you will get the formation of salicylic acid here. That is the difference. Okay, this is also Riemer-Tiemer reaction, but CCl4 is being used here. Right. So next is Williamson reaction. Williamson reaction we have, see, Williamson synthesis is different. Williamson reaction. Okay. So now Williamson synthesis or reaction, we say this is Rx and this is RONA. So now this reaction, if I tell you, if they are going to ask some question from either they are going to ask this Williamson synthesis, or they're going to ask the reaction of ether with HX. That's it. No other reaction is going to ask. Okay. This is also very, very important. With the help of so many examples, they will ask you this question. So obviously, you should do the example of these as well, right? So this X will go with this Na, and you will have the formation of this ether. That is ROR. Okay. So next is Raschig reaction. I won't say this is a very important reaction, but I have also included this reaction, right? Because this is one of the naming reactions, but I won't say very, very important. But yes, still can be asked directly in the exam, but not through examples, right? So this is chlorobenzene, and this is what we have added here. This is calcium phosphate at 698 Kelvin, and you have phenol formation here. Next is dose process. Again, a very important process of preparation of phenol. Here, the temperature and the pressure condition is very important. The temperature here is 623 Kelvin temperature. Okay. So, chlorobenzene, this bond is very difficult to break, but still under drastic condition, we have did that, and we have converted chlorobenzene to phenol. Okay. So, when you are another question that can be asked from this particular reaction, that is if there is NO2 group on ortho, meta or para position, what happens? Okay, so that is also mentioned in your NCERT, so do read that. And also I have mentioned those in my detailed videos, my detailed lectures. You will find these kind of questions and a lot of practice question as well. So guys, now we have Helmholtz-Zielinski reaction. Oh my god, this is so scary. Right, this is simply named as HVZ reaction. Here also we have carboxylic acid. Do not confuse this with Borodin-Hunsaker reaction. So here we have CH3COH, and here this alpha hydrogen. This alpha carbon, this is the alpha hydrogen. This alpha hydrogen will be replaced by chlorine in presence of chlorine and red phosphorus and water. That's it. Okay. So now next reaction is Stephan reduction. Stephan reduction, you have tin chloride here. Okay, any metallic halide can be used here. Right. So this is the cyanide and this is getting converted into aldehyde. Okay, cyanide is getting converted into aldehyde in the Stephan's reduction. Then we have Rosenman reduction. For Rosenman reduction and Birch reduction, always remember this one thing. In this case, you have Rosenman reduction, and here there should be hydrogen here. This should be hydrogen. Okay. This is again acid chloride is being converted into aldehyde. Okay, I'm getting a little fumble. I'm fumbling here. Just wait. Oh. So now here acid chloride is getting converted into aldehyde, right? So what is the catalyst here? This is called Lindlar's catalyst. The BaSO4 is the poison here. There can be other poison as well, that is CuCO3, or there can be quinoline. Anything can be used here as a poison here, because this otherwise this reaction can be very vigorous. To stop that reaction, we added a poison here. So this is named as Lindlar's catalyst. Also, another example of Lindlar's catalyst is that if you use Lindlar's catalyst, if you are using it on alkyne, then this will be getting converted into cis alkene. Okay, this is cis alkene. Okay, this will get converted into cis alkene with the help of Lindlar's catalyst. And if you are going to convert alkyne into trans-alkene, you must use Birch reduction. That is Li or Na in presence of liquid ammonia. That is Birch reduction. Okay. So now next is Gattermann-Koch reaction. So Gattermann and Gattermann-Koch reaction are different from each other. So this is Gattermann-Koch reaction. In this we have benzene, and we are going to, okay, otherwise we used to use Friedel-Crafts acylation, okay, but this group is not very stable. This particular group is not stable. This is very unstable. Okay, this is very unstable species. So we cannot use Friedel-Crafts acylation here. So instead here we have used, this is the preparation method of this particular group which is not stable. So here we have used carbon monoxide HCl anhydrous AlCl3, and we have this CHO group on the benzene ring. Right. So now next is Itard's reaction. In Itard's reaction, you have almost just 6 reactions are left here. Okay. So you have this toluene and CrO2, Cl2, CH2 in presence of this CH2. You have the conversion of CH3 into CHO. Okay. This is Itard's reaction. Directly this can be, direct question can be asked from this reaction. You can see your PYQs. These questions are being asked in the PYQs that are very direct, very easy, very scoring questions. Okay. So next is Hoffman bromamide degradation again. So see, here you have, this is actually, so this is RCONH2. This CO, this simple way of remembering this CO will be gone. This CO will be gone. That's it. Okay. This is RCONH2. Amide will be. This is for the formation of 1 degree amine. Okay. This is 1 degree amide will be getting converted into 1 degree amine. This is only for 1 degree. Okay. So this 1 degree amide will be getting converted into 1 degree amine. That is Hoffman bromamide degradation. Okay. So you have used Br2 KOH here. Either you can also use KOBr here. Anything can be mentioned in this place. Okay. Again, a very direct and important question. Now you have Hoffman analysis. Now this is the question that can be asked through examples. Right. So otherwise this is a very simple reaction. This can be asked through examples. So you have the excess of Rx. First it will get reacted with NH3. Then it will form 1 degree. Again it will react with NH3. Then form 2 degree. Again with NH3 it will form 3 degree. Again with NH3 it will form quaternary salt. Okay. That is R4N positive. Right. So next is Gabriel phthalimide synthesis. Oh my god, this seems like Gabbar. Okay, so this is Gabbar only. You can see the shakal is like, the face is like Gabbar. So now you can see what will happen here. This is the formation of 1 degree. This is just for 1 degree amine. This is for 1 degree amine. Firstly, what will happen? We use alcoholic OH. So this particular H, this NH will be replaced by OH. Okay, this H will be replaced by OH. Okay, so now after that, what we have done, we have replaced this by RX. So this OH will be replaced by X, and after that we have hydrolyzed this. Okay, so here this phthalic acid will be formed, and you will have 1 degree amine here. right? Okay, so next is manganese reduction. Manganese reduction, we have cyanide that is being converted into more the number. Okay, so here the Na alcohol is being used here, and here this bond will break. This particular bond will break and H2H2 will be added. Again, a very simple reaction, very simple expected reaction. Now we have oxymercuration and demercuration. So what is this reaction? Let us see oxymercuration, demercuration and hydroboration oxidation. These are some kind of similar. So I'll just advise you one thing. When you have acidic hydrolysis, in that case carbocation is formed. When we are doing, it is just the formation of OH, okay? When through alkene, we are forming the alcohol, right? So in this case, first thing is acid catalyzed reaction. In that case, carbocation is rearranged. In this case, oxymercuration, demercuration, Markovnikov rule is simply applied here. Nothing, no rearrangement here, just Markovnikov rule is applied here. These are the reagent present here, okay? Just Markovnikov rule is the end product here. Now, in hydroboration oxidation, anti-Markovnikov rule is the end product here. Okay, anti-Markovnikov means the negative part will be on more number of hydrogen. Okay. So how was the lecture, students? Did you enjoy it? If so, then I'm waiting for your comments and feedback in the comment section. And also don't forget to share this with your friends.